Shannon, hi.
Hi, Kim. How are you?
I'm good. I'm now on literally the exact opposite side of the time zone, if you will, world from you. It's 8:30 in the morning by me and 8:30 at night by you. It
Yep,
is the challenge of working internationally is moving around like this, but it keeps it interesting.
I can imagine. And this time I'm enjoying a sunset while talking to you. So it's like right there in front of my face.
I trying to get my sunsets in and you're getting sunrises in. It's not so easy, is it? And I think that,
No.
when you go to make a habit like that, a real mindful habit, it does take, absolute effort to make that happen. It's so important. I think I caught more of them last year, but I just found out that I've got some staff that are flying into Bali because we have our upcoming Curves Bali retreat. I feel like there's a lot of reflection going on in my glasses, so I might not be able to see, but at least maybe that's a little bit better. The Where they're staying has an amazing rooftop, perfect for a sunset. So I'm going to try and catch that tonight.
Amazing. I mean, we had a tornado come through here today. It
What?
wasn't far from my home. Yes.
Oh my God.
Um,
I didn't really ever think they made it to Canada. I don't know why.
Yeah, they're here. I know in Ontario we've had upside down tornadoes, they've called them, but today we
Wow.
actually have there's content all over Facebook today of an actual tornado that came through and there were trees down everywhere. I was like, I had to go to an appointment today and I was actually going around trees that had fallen over on the road. It was crazy.
It's so scary. My mom used to
Yeah.
love to watch for tornadoes because I grew up in central Illinois. And so we're kind of almost like a little bit of Wizard of Ozzy, very flat. So a lot of
Yeah.
things come through. And we had I guess, number five, the big one. We had a big
Wow.
one go right in front of our house one time. And it really is like the Wizard of Oz. When you see that, it's so powerful and the destruction is so horrendous. It's just so scary. Actually, tornadoes are just very, very scary. So for any people
Yep.
out there who are watching us that live through those or have experienced that, I mean, my heart goes out because it's awful and they're so destructive so fast.
Mhm. Yeah, we all had I had the warnings on the phone. There
Wow.
was a lady videoing, I think she was in one of her horse barns and she was videoing and the tornado was right in front of her and just the wind. It's like a train coming through the sounds, right? It
Yeah.
was crazy. Yeah, but anyway, we had that happened today.
I know.
So, but
Well, I'm over here in the area where, you get torrential downpours, just massive amounts of rain to the point of flooding everywhere. And just, it's almost sometimes hard to believe just the volume of rain that can come down in Indonesia. Many of our staff that work at clubs throughout Indonesia have had to take boats out of their home, and their home is not on an island. Okay. Like they've literally had to row out of their house to
wow.
get to dry land so that they could get to work. So I'm always so impressed with the commitment, that people make around the world with natural disasters like that, and or just normal seasonal occurrences that completely compromise, how you have to get somewhere. And I've got video of me going through parts of Bandung, and the water is up to the halfway up the door of the cars, and I'm thinking, how are we going to get in a taxi? How are we going to get through this? So, anyway,
And that's normal for you
that's
there, right?
normal. Yeah, over here,
Yeah.
that's normal. It's
Wow.
seasonal, and it happens like this every year. And yeah, they deal with it. It's just it blows my mind actually, and I guess it's all what you get used to. And people who do experience tornadoes know what to do and run to the basement and take shelter. I mean, I lived in Sydney during the big fires that we had, and I was preparing for what was almost imminent, which was the fire was going to cross the river north of us, come through the forest, which was right near our house. And I was in like one of the only wooden old homes. So, and at the time I was there with the kids by myself, and I had to go out and get stuff off the roof, and so that embers, because embers can fly 20 miles. And, we've got a lot of clubs in California that have experienced the fires, and clubs in Australia, and floods in
Yeah.
Queensland. I mean, it's really, there's so many natural disasters going on right now. After going to Tulum and seeing what's happening with the seaweed, and then now it's hitting the shores of Miami, and there's just a lot. My mom used to watch the weather consistently, but now I see why. I mean, I think it's just a constant
Yeah.
thing you have to be prepared for. And, but I hope everybody survived okay in your area and there wasn't any.
I didn't hear of anything bad happening to anyone, so that's a good thing. I don't think anybody was hurt, but there were some damages done to some houses and some cars. But yeah,
And one of your coaches
yeah,
is a Mackenzie, right? Mackenzie.
yeah.
Yeah,
She's a
she's a
firefighter.
firefighter. I love
So
that.
she was probably out today. I'll have to touch base with her actually to see what she ran into. She's out on the west side of Kingston, and I know just north of there and across behind me is where the tornado kind of traveled. So it'll be interesting to see what she ended up helping out
I
with.
love that. So many young coaches in our clubs are really, they're just amazing women, and they're doing so many cool things. And, they might start at Curves, they might stay at Curves, they might own a Curves, but they are just really remarkable. And I've had so many women that came through, young women that came through my clubs that went on to do incredible things in the health and wellness space. And so, ladies out there, if you're watching Shannon and I, give your coaches some love. We've got some incredible women that work inside of Curves, and they do such a great job, and they're such good motivators. And such a big
Yes, they
part
are.
of our business is that piece of being motivated and taken care of and looked after and guided and celebrated. And so I just love that about what our business attracts.
She definitely fell in love with curves, which is why she returned. And she's not fully returned yet, but she's trying. She's in between trainings and stuff, but I know her face will be showing up soon. But
That's
she's
so
like,
great.
I love the place. I want to come back. She loves the ladies there. So,
Well,
yeah.
that, the big love. So, to that point, it is the number one thing I see on our social media. And I'll tell you, if you are in a club, I don't want to say count yourself lucky, but there's so many women out there that just say, please bring a curves to my town again. Please bring a curves to my town again. And, the reality is you bought a curves. I bought a curves. I bought two curves. If you want to bring one to your community, call me. We'll open one, so we'll help you open one. And that's basically how it works. And it really is the passionate owners that champion our brand that make all the difference.
And the sisterhood that comes through there, right? I mean, today, oh my gosh, Cindy, our coach Cindy, she's so great at bringing all the ladies together. She did this huge Canada Day thing and got lots of group photos and some fun things happening on the circuit. There was lots of red and whites because, we're closed tomorrow because that's our Canada
Okay.
Day holiday. So,
Okay.
yeah, she did really good today with that. Hope she's
Oh,
watching this. Let her know, like she did awesome. So,
oh, that's
yeah.
well, so Pure 30, ladies, we are into week
Yes.
4. And Shannon and I have been, kind of going through, I guess, the rafters of our brain, the creative side, and coming up with all kinds of fun things. I would absolutely love to know what you've enjoyed and what recipes you've tried that maybe surprised you a little bit, or maybe what you experimented with. And speaking of experimenting, I know Shannon's got something to share with experimenting. But what you experimented with during this month that you want to continue. So yeah, tell us about your experiment there, your chemistry experiment that you've got going on.
The sourdough?
Yeah.
Yes, the sourdough starter is ready finally, and I am going to make a loaf of bread tomorrow on a video so everyone can see how it's done. And fingers crossed it turns out. But, it should. I mean, they're not too hard to make. You just gotta, knead the dough and put it in the oven, and voila, it comes out in a beautiful. I got one of those Dutch oven pots to put it in, so. It should be great.
It's a real work of art doing sourdough. What I can't, I'm racking my brain right now to think of the name. Earl. That's Errol Flynn. You know Errol Flynn, the actor from 100 years ago or whatever, Errol Flynn. So my
Yeah.
girlfriend, apparently when you are working with a starter and you continue to feed your starter, you need to give it a name. Did you know
Oh,
that?
I remember you saying this. Yes. I didn't name her, or we could name her. I don't know. Is there a very sorry?
Yeah, I don't know what name to come up with either, but my girlfriend's name is Errol. That's it. Errol, like
Arrow.
Errol Flynn, like I hope I'm saying that right. She's probably gonna be like, no, that's not it. But I think that's it because I was like, is that like the famous actor? Like I don't know. I guess you wanna think of something that, has a little love in it because you're, feeding it some love and that kind of thing. I don't know. Something that is hungry.
It's actually going to be a whole spelt flour sourdough bread. So
Even
where does
better.
spelt come from?
I don't know, but spelt is so much better on your gut than wheat. Spelt is just
Yeah.
got, I think, just much more benefits. But you're the nutritionist, not me. But I know when you have spelt pizza dough, it just digests so much better than having a gluten-based pizza dough. And
Yeah, it's definitely lower in gluten and it's really high in nutrients. So, and then on top of it, you've got it fermented. So your body's just gonna love it. I mean, it's stacked on stacked of just goodness, right? So,
can you make some pizza dough out of your sourdough starter?
yeah, you can. I have not, but I've seen
Just
people
give you
have
one more thing
sourdough
to do, Shannon.
pancakes, sourdough pizza. I've seen that like on some reels. I haven't attempted the pizza, but I've done the pancakes and I've done the bread, and
Okay.
they've turned out phenomenal. So I've only messed up one sourdough loaf and it turned really flat because I just didn't there's rotation, right, of kneading it and letting it sit. I don't
Yeah.
think I one time it sit long enough and it was like really hard and flat. And I was like, well, that's for the birds. But
Well, I've,
anyway,
I've made a lot of pizza dough from scratch. When we gave away the pizza oven, I bought
okay.
an outdoor jumbuck pizza oven, which is only 200 Aussie dollars, which is like 150 US. I mean, it's not
Oh,
expensive
wow.
and it's a fabulous outdoor portable pizza oven. And so I've really experimented with my dough and I've finally gotten to where I feel like I've got a good recipe. And I do think, one thing to keep in mind when you're doing any of these things that require sitting is the temperature of your room. Like different climates sort of yield different results in this area. And so I'm often doing this in Sydney and it's not usually extremely hot. But I've put my homemade dough, I've put it in warm areas and it's sort of started to cook. And that's not what I wanted either. Like I just wanted it to rise. And then sometimes I've had too much yeast and it looks like it's just going to continue going. So it takes, I think, a little bit. And I've kind of landed on when I make my pizza dough now, I really I like the cold water recipe. So when you do your 00 dough and you add your yeast and you add your salt, I like the cold water edition versus the warm water edition. I just feel like the dough always comes out a little stretchier, a little bit more like I expect to go into a pizza oven. Because, I really want it to do that bubbly thing, like where it just kind of,
Mm,
it kind of turns into an interesting pizza dough.
makes sense. No, that sounds so. What did you found that it wasn't stretchy enough when you used the warm water? It would
Yeah,
break
I don't know.
apart?
I just couldn't make it work as well with warm water. So I did the cold water recipe. And then the other key to when you're doing those pizzas, I can tell you right now, really important is the semolina. You need the semolina for the shoving and the pushing it off. So if you don't have semolina, definitely use a corn meal. That would be another good option. But the semolina is really important, and you always build the pizza on the paddle first. That's also really important. If you build the pizza on a, on a wooden board or, whatever, it doesn't matter. You can't scoop it. It's really difficult to scoop, even if it's on semolina, because the dough is still quite soft. So those big paddles serve a really good purpose. Cover them in semolina, then put the dough down, then build your pizza, and then slide it right in. I've learned that trick. We've made a lot of messy things in there. And the other thing is, in these smaller pizza ovens, like this Jumbuck one that doesn't have the rotating tray, the semolina is going to kind of burn off at the back, because the more you shove them in, the more extra semolina goes in. So it's going to burn off a little bit. And so that can be a little like, oh my gosh, what's on fire? What's catching on fire in there? But anyway, so I kind of mastered it. But I do think there is an art to, making your dough for anything, but for making pizzas, it takes some practice. You're never going to get it right out of the box. I mean, maybe, but it's a challenge. So I think sourdough is also one of those things. It takes a few times to kind of get like, okay, don't do this, do that. And so we'll hear all your tips.
I will share them for sure. What worked, what didn't. And I'll make sure I've got two. So I've got two ready tomorrow in case one doesn't work out. So I'm ready.
So you're going to make sourdough. And then what else are you working on for our final week?
I also thought of doing like a little hors d'oeuvre snack type thing because ladies love their crunchy texture crackers, right? So using some of our seed crackers and creating some really flavorful cottage cheese spreads that can be put onto them, and just incorporating some different flavors. The other thing, that's what it was. So I couldn't find the protein spices that you have
at Target.
But I went to my local supplement store and found unflavored whey protein powder. And I'm going to experiment making just some of them here because I'm like, well, I can't find them online. I can't find them in Kingston. I'm going to just try and make some.
I feel a little side business bubbling here. I think, the funny thing
I will send you messages of which ones turned out and which ones didn't.
I feel like we could do something really fun here, but in Australia, it's very interesting to me. So in the United States, so let me just start there. In the United States, we have a sachet and a packet for everything. Like if you want to make this sauce, we've got so many different things. That is one giant area that is not big in Australia. Now, on the flip side, they have a ton of amazing ready-made dips and all kinds of things that are actually prepared. But in America, we just have like giant sections of the grocery store with like Hidden Valley Ranch and this seasoning, that seasoning, or taking all your Lipton soup things and turning them into dips. I mean, we make dips and dips and dips, but we're much more in this like make it category than Australians are. Australians go in, grab it, and go. I mean, I do think they invented the twist off wine bottle too. So they're into the convenience of everything. But I thought, where are all the sachets? So often I will bring back the Hidden Valley Ranch one. Now I know this is probably not the healthiest option. Okay. So, Kim might use the microwave, but the little sachets are not always the healthiest option. So I don't use them all the time, but there is some really nice dips you can make with sour cream and using the Hidden Valley Ranch and sauce sachet. My mom used to make homemade buttermilk dressing. I mean, we never had store-bought dressing ever. It was always made with buttermilk.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. It's good for you. It's just heavy.
Just heavy. But then that sachet went in there. And I can tell you right now, there's probably some things in there that we don't want in that sachet. So, making that, I'm so excited to see what you're going to do because I keep thinking the same thing. As a matter of fact, I have got something here on this side. Let me just, around all my tech here. Let me start with this. And maybe you can talk a little bit about, I meant to bring up some information on this ahead of time. And I apologize. I just, I'm just arriving here in Bali. We had our amazing celebration over the weekend. And I will definitely just share a clip in the portal because it was absolutely outstanding. It fills my heart when I see our members celebrating their health. And, you know, every year the team here in Indonesia knocks it out of the park. I mean, it will. Did you see any? Did I send you any clips? No, probably not.
I don't think, no,
Okay.
no clips yet.
Can I just say it was just shockingly beautiful. I mean, maybe as we put this conversation up, they'll edit in a few pictures because the set was, you know, we use the butterfly a lot in curves because the butterfly transforms and it's beautiful and it's feminine. So our whole theme had butterflies, but we also use the heart a lot because, you know, we lead with the heart and we're very heart centered. And I just think that there is something, you know, beautiful and unique that happens inside of curves. It's very difficult to put your finger on. And to me, a heart represents that. But anyhow, so I'm just getting back into life here in Bali, and wow, I'm not even sure how to say this, to be honest, but basically this is blue spirulina. This is the blue spirulina. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of benefits to the blue spirulina, and I can't tell you off the top of my head what they are, but there's a ton of benefits to the blue spirulina. Now, I will say this, for those out there that do use spirulina and chlorella. So chlorella is a great heavy metal grabber, and it's a terrific detoxifier. So chlorella at night before you go to bed, especially if you've had any alcohol, if you've had any heavy foods, anything like that, it's a really great thing to take before you go to sleep to kind of help the liver, you know, detoxify. And in the morning, spirulina is a really great way to get your day going. But anytime I've had blue spirulina, I just feel, and it could be mental here, a lot of mental, who knows? I feel a boost of energy from blue spirulina, and I'm not exactly sure why that is, but let me show you. I've got it behind my thing here. Hopefully I don't knock anything over. This is what I'm going to recreate this week. You can buy it here in Bali. And this is hydro water. So this is a super hydrator, simple ingredients, so anyone can make this. It's coconut water, blue spirulina, lemon, and salt. So I'm going to use a Bali salt. I've got my Bali salt here, and I've got a lemon. There's a lemon around here. Here's a lemon. I don't know why they packaged the lemons here, but I've got a packaged lemon. And then I've got my coconut water, which the fresh coconut water here comes in a bag. And so it's in the refrigerator. I did not bring that into this room, but I'm just going to give this, I'm going to give this a taste here, which, it's very fizzy. I probably shouldn't have done that because it kind of ferments a little bit. I'm going to definitely have to pour this over the sink here. I'm going to give this a taste while we're talking, but this is one of the things, fantastic hydrator. And anyone can make it. I will say that, you know, like acai, some of these things, blue spirulina is very expensive. And you don't need much, but it is expensive. And so I hope this does not explode. I shouldn't have tipped it over, but I just wanted the salt and everything to kind of come up a bit. It did fizzle. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. So this was the easiest glass I could grab. So this is a super electrolyte hydrating drink. Fun is that? So, you know, for those out there that don't drink alcohol or want to get off of drinking alcohol, there's lots of ways to do that. And one would be creating your own new special cocktails. This might be one of them. I have a girlfriend who really cut out alcohol, and she drinks magnesium drinks, a lemonade flavored, like pink lemonade flavored magnesium drink is another great thing. Maybe we should do like a whole series on beneficial cocktails. So you ready? Here we go. I haven't had this for a long time. Pretty good. I would not call this a super, I wouldn't call this a super sweet drink. You can get there's fermentation going on. That's why there's bubbles. There's definitely fermentation going on. The salt, the lemon, the coconut water, and then the blue spirulina. It's got a little bit of a salty flavor. and fermented, almost like a, you know what it's, I'll tell you what it tastes like. I knew there was something. And when we lived in China, we'd make our own water kefir, or as you would say, kefir, what do we say? Tomato.
Kefir,
Kefir.
kefir,
Yeah, so we
or
used to make,
kefir. Yeah.
yeah, my husband used to make water kefir with a few big dried Chinese dates and then the water kefir granules. And that's actually what this tastes like. So, you know, I think when it ferments, you're going to get some of the sugar will be coming out of the coconut water. So it won't be as sugary because it'll now turn into something fermented. Yeah, you don't want tons of it, but but maybe it's an acquired taste. I never was crazy about the water kefir either, but he absolutely loved it. So
That's good.
yeah, not bad. Not bad, not amazing.
Maybe it can be mixed with something if you're finding it, you can only have like a
You
sip.
know, I think maybe some sparkling water would be good.
Yeah.
A little bit of sparkling water would be good. And I did not get around to tasting those weird coconut waters. I had to leave. And I think maybe my son's comment of how they are. So I'll have to make another video later on of me tasting those crazy coconut waters. But this is something I'm going to make. I'm going to go ahead and make one today so I can show everybody and give a little bit more background of why this is so great. But a lot of people here in Bali that play a lot of sport love to drink these, especially after doing a lot of sport. It's a great rehydrator. And you know, that's another thing. When you go to bed at night, I think this would be fantastic to have before you go to bed because it would really push hydration into your cells while you sleep. I don't know how many,
for sure.
Right? People wake up thirsty, and so that might be a good thing. And then what we did want to cover off on as we move into week 4 is the microbiome and just pushing out, you know, the diversity of what we need. And I've got a couple of ideas on how to hack that a little bit from, you know, getting a bunch of your seeds together and just grinding them up into a powder so that you can use them easier, you know, like just all these packets of things make me crazy. So if you can simplify a way to like get more in, I think it's great. And these pre-shredded cabbage bags or kale salad bags, or, you know, there's some with carrot, you know, if you can get 3 or 4 pre-shredded bags and throw them together and then use that as a base throughout the week, I think that makes things so much easier when you're trying to get a variety.
Great idea. Yeah. Any way that you can, I love that. That's a great thing. Just buying the pre-packaged and putting together a different variety of colors. Because usually there's only a few ingredients in each one, right? So yeah, why not?
So with your seeded crackers, how many seeds,
Mm.
nuts and seeds are you going to use in your cracker recipe?
The seeded crackers I bought in the store, I actually have, and I found, hang on, just give me a sec here. We have an everything seed cracker.
I love the everything.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Mary's.
Yeah, and this one's just fine herbs.
Nice.
And it's gonna have your quinoa, flaxseed, sesame seeds, and it has brown rice as well. I think that they all have that. Actually, the Mary's organic. This one's just your classic, but I also found, and I'm gonna figure out how to pair these. Oh, we got another one. Separated. That's basil and garlic.
Nice.
And then I found these sweet beetroot crackers. So I'll have to figure out what to pair for
great polyphenol. The old wheat. It's really good for polyphenols. Everybody kind of needs more polyphenols.
And it does have beetroot, poppy seeds, and flax seeds with your ground paprika, chia seeds, onion powder, and sea salt. So it's pretty good.
Nice. I mean, you know, one of the things I'm dropping into the group this week is a simple chart for you to track throughout the week if you're getting a variety in. And, none of this is hard and fast. That's the whole idea of Pure 30. It's about just awareness and then, looking at what you do and then saying, okay, what could I do a little differently? And, or what can I incorporate that I want to keep regularly? And then how do I feel because I did that? And so I made a chart that allows you to kind of tick off for the week, which is actually part of my 90 Days to Amaze program, where you can tick off for the week all the different variety that you got into your diet. So if you think about food as medicine, this is really where we boost our immunity. We feed the garden inside of our body. And I think when we know the formula, which I love that, we can sort of biohack our nutrition to be the most beneficial. And so I can't wait to sort of show you that chart and get your feedback and make sure we haven't missed anything on there.
Well, what women need to know too is your microbiome represents almost, I believe, is it 70% of your immune system? So if you are finding anything on the immune side that's happening to you, it just means bring in that variety. And this is going to be a great chart that's going to kind of point out maybe things that you might be missing. So, or maybe a routine that you're stuck in. So you can go, okay, maybe I should add a little bit more variety from here or there that I've been missing. And you should see a change over time on how you're feeling because, I mean, it's there are people who get sick constantly, right? And it does really boil down to your diet. So I really love this idea that you've come up with. And I think it's going to be great for women to just kind of have that little tick box idea on, okay, now I've at least nabbed, at least from these categories, I've got everything covered. And yeah, and outside of that, there have still been some wonderful comments coming in of people who have done the Pure 30 and are experiencing weight loss. They're just so amazed. So it was so nice to see that. It's like it makes it all worth it, right? Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's interesting, when I did the 90 Days to Amaze program in Indonesia, and I launched that as part of our nutrition program. And that's always been a challenge for me with Curves internationally, is when you go into other cultures, you can't just take what I call our metabolism boosting program, which is Curves Complete, the one that Cleveland Clinic basically gave the green light to and sort of reorganized. I taught that diet for 5 years straight. I believe passionately in changing your metabolism through eating enough food and getting your right macros in and the balance and all of those things. And I taught that program just religiously and firmly believe in it. But it's not easy to take that program outside of the Western market into Eastern markets. And so I was constantly pushed to come up with a nutrition program for Taiwan. But we were so busy just sort of clubs growing and exploding with growth and another new club and another new club and another new club. I really didn't have time to wrap my head around how to blend Eastern medicine philosophy, which is nutrition. Eastern medicine is nutrition, and taking that mentality and then putting it into a program that would be received well and would actually gain success. And so I did sort of by de facto, I became very absorbed in the culture of nutrition in the East. And I went in with a very, dare I say, American attitude initially, like, oh, we've got a pill for this and we've got a pill for that. And it's funny how my entire full circuit moment came to me of really going to holistic nutrition. And not that I was ever a fan of a pill for this or a pill for that, but I felt like, nutrition was sort of a long route and there is a faster route. And, and then of course, even through all my pregnancies, I wouldn't take any pills. I wouldn't do anything. And I made all my own baby food and everything was organic. But so there was a real sort of like struggle, I guess, for me to sort of bring these together and consider how this really works. And I probably mentioned last week, just in Taiwan, everything is about like, we're going to go eat and some major organ in our body is going to get better because of what we had tonight for dinner, which I always thought was interesting. And, we don't really do that in the West. We're like, oh, let's go have this. It's so delicious. I love it. Where, in the East, it's more like, oh, I'm feeling a little like it's this time of year. Let's go make sure we have bone broth with collagen and like, let's get our body feeling really good and, what have you. But putting the 90 Days to Amaze program together was really about this holistic approach. Because I do feel like diets, I dare I say diets are dead, but I just feel like we are in a movement today of deeply understanding our health and the nutrition that goes with our health. I mean, if you think about it, veterinarians go to school for 7 years because they have to learn all the diets of all the different animals they take care of, right? And I know our medical profession is not high on teaching nutrition. It becomes its own category in its own degree on its own, a very specialized area, which seems strange when you think about it. Like we all need nutrition. It's absolute fundamental to life. And so putting that 90 Days to Amaze program together really became about these simple steps and approaches to having, a better diet, I guess, if you will, but one that does go with strength training because that's also essential for longevity. And through that program, our first club in Indonesia opened across the street from one of the largest hospitals. And I had many, many doctors that have come through the 90 Days to Amaze program and have gotten fantastic success. And I never set out with like, oh, this is exactly what's going to happen. But I have women that have lost 28 kilos doing 90 Days to Amaze. That is a significant amount of weight. And it's like Pure 30, but extended. There's more moderation online. There's a little bit more guidance and a little bit more checking in. But it's essentially an extended version of Pure 30. And so I guess if everybody likes this, maybe that's our next big step, Shannon. Not that you need more work, but
I'm here when you're ready, Kim.
because it
But
is
I
great.
am going away for a week, so wait till I come back.
Okay. Okay, only a week. That's great.
Okay.
That's great. But overall, you're feeling quite good on your journey over this last year, too. That's what you said.
Yeah, and a lot of it has come from putting those practices back in place that came from Pure 30. And what I really loved that we did is, I really focused on my macros the last year, but I was really inspired by the Buddha bowl concept that we did because it's like, look at this amount of flavor that we packed into a bowl that can still get you the results that you need without it being just plain rice and meat that everybody does on like your plain macronutrient type diets, right?
Yeah.
It's a blast of flavor. So, like, what better way to get inspired about eating food and changing your body composition that then it should really shift your mindset to not go for that easy thing at the restaurant anymore and like go home and make this or have it ready like we said in the fridge, all these ingredients, and just put something together and watch your body change. Like you don't have to starve yourself, right, to get there. You bodybuilders eat what they'll eat like 3,000 calories of healthy foods and their muscles are growing, they're not getting overly fat, they're fit. So I mean, I really love that we were able to bring an inspirational way of variety and like you said, incorporating a holistic side to it that can really show people that you can get healthy and enjoy your food too. So you don't have to grab that thing that you miss. It's there. You just have to get creative in it, right?
Yes,
So,
creative. Kim said to me, her big thing that she's giving up is buying bottled dressing. Because she often meal preps on Sunday and she's ready to go and she throws things together. And that actually what inspired me to think about Buddha bowls is I watch her always, prepping her cottage cheese with her berries and her this and her that as she's getting ready to fly out the door. And I thought, oh, Buddha bowls would be great. And people have asked me, where did this term come from? I had to actually look it up. I mean, it's really, I guess, it became popular as a term in the world and the movement of vegan vegan eating, plant-based eating, and these bowls, these acai bowls and things like that, because they look like the tray of, you know, foods that the monks take to the temple. They look like that. So you could call them cornucopias too. I mean, they just have a beautiful array. You know, and that's where the term Buddha bowl came from. It's not like a Buddhist fat belly or it's religious in any way. It's more just visual representation of variety. And I think, you know, when it comes to this and the creativity piece of it, that's where I find the fun challenge. It's like, how do I make you know, I have a deconstructed 7-layer, which became 10-layer salad recipe that's dropping this week. And I'm like, how can I make a really tasty blue cheese-like dressing without all the, you know, and how can I make it really taste like that or even taste better? And that's why I just love using the Greek yogurt. I love using the Greek yogurt, the cottage cheese, the feta for the saltiness and the sharpness. And you can throw in a little bit of blue cheese. It's a great fermented cheese for sure. You can shred a little hard, you know, Parmesan in there as well. And then throw in your seasoning, throw in your onions, get that really robust flavor coming through. And I'll tell you, I did not miss another type of dressing. It was so delicious. So I think if you're getting creative and you're just going, okay, this is what we normally use. What's a better option? And that's where that healthy swap idea is there. It's like, what's the better option?
But to put another layer on top of that, it's also, you know, as women, we multitask. So while your meat is cooking and you're prepping the vegetables, and then you're in that between phase, it literally takes 5 minutes to put your sauce together. So
Yeah.
you can do this all in 30 minutes. It really doesn't take much longer than that, usually, to prep the bowl and the system that's in place and knowing which order to kind of prepare your food, that you can get it done in 30 minutes, but or have it all ready on a Sunday, pick your dressings and maybe make two that you really like to get yourself through the first half of the week, you know, and then you might have to make another one later in the week, right? So other than that, like, it all works in 30 minutes. Just
You know,
like
that,
our workout.
you know, it made me think of it. Okay, there's a couple of recipes that are popping into my head as we're talking.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys have this one, but I feel like I might give this one a go this week as a grand finale, because we've got the 4th of July coming up. This is quite a special 4th of July, 250 years in America. And I just shout out to the American franchisees. I write our scripts, and I really do write them. It's not AI generated. It's me. And you know, I want to be very authentic about what we put out there about curves. And I wrote a tribute script, and my tribute script was really about women, but without, you know, being about women specifically, because it's 250 years of America. But to be honest, it's 100 years of women having massive achievements socially, economically, from an education point of view. Like, I am so proud of the female movement, and it's not just America, of course, but it becomes very evident when I go to other countries just what a special thing this is that we get to experience in the West, which is the strength of women. And so as we come on to the 4th of July celebration, and by the way, Canada comes up quite a lot in the PBS documentary, the American Revolution, which I've watched on the airplane now, and it's absolutely phenomenal. There's so much incredible information in there, and there's such a spirit of strength and freedom. And, you know, of course, there's other things that are tragedies, and as anything like this, you know, we have native people in every country everywhere that, you know, have been invaded upon, not just this time period but always. And so it's just it's a beautiful story and representation of so much interesting history. So if people haven't watched that PBS special, I do recommend that. It really is quite moving. A lot of famous people are speaking in it too, but to a recipe for the 4th of July. I don't know if this is a Canadian one that gets up there or not, but have you ever had the broccoli salad, which is broccoli? Yeah, you have. Okay. Broccoli, bacon, purple onion, and Oh, usually like a raisin or a craisin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to tackle that one. There's a nut in there too. I think there's almonds or something like that. I'm going to tackle that one with my Greek dressing, and let me see my Greek salad dressing I made for the 7-layer salads. I'm gonna tackle that one. I'll make that this week. I think that could be a really fun recipe. The other thing I want to challenge myself on, because this only has 4 ingredients, so this isn't much of a challenge. Um, it's great and it's interesting, but it's not much of a challenge. While you're making protein powder seasonings, I think I'm going to take the protein powder seasoning that I have and give it a test, and I'm going to make a microbiome 30. It's my pure 30 salad. 30.
I like it.
I'm going to try. Okay. There's a lot to
So
get
does
in a
that mean there's
salad.
going to be 30 ingredients?
30 ingredients. Let's see. I'm going to give it a go. I mean, I can think of 15 off the top of my head that I put in there immediately, but it's almost like, I think there's some recipes like that. It's sort of like, what do they call it? Well, in college, there were drinks that were called basically garbage can drinks. They threw every booze in.
Yeah.
I
I remember the garbage can soup.
Oh, I think back to some of these things like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I'm past that age of my life. But I don't even think kids do that anymore. Like mix up giant drinks in garbage cans and then drink out of them all night long. But
Oh, it's
isn't
probably
there
still
some
happening, but
isn't there some recipe called like not the everything salad, but you got the everything um topper for the bagel, which is so
yep,
delicious, right?
yep.
So, but isn't there like a not a garbage can salad, but I don't even want to call it a garbage can. I need to call it like a cornucopia or just a microbiome. I don't know, the biome salad, biome 30. I don't know. I'll come up with a fun name. I don't know, but I'm going to give it a go. And yeah, I'll see. It's a lot of ingredients, isn't it? Like I got to really challenge myself. And, the thing about feeding the microbiome, and one of the things, we were talking about is fruits. And I do think everybody's got to be a little careful with fruit. And,
Yeah.
do you want to speak a little bit to that? Like, fruits and how we should sort of manage taking in fruit?
I mean, the most that I can really share on that is I know you do need to be mindful. I think it can be heavy on your liver, for one, just to eat a ton of fruit and, packed in sugar. So your insulin, it's still going to be affected. But just choosing one or two fruits per day at the max is all you need. I mean, it's a great way to get in your antioxidants too, right? So, I can't really speak much more to that, to be honest, but I do know you should limit them. Um, and I'm pretty sure it does contribute to just slowing down the liver, if I'm
Yeah. Well,
remembering
because
correctly.
some of them are just extremely sweet. And if you think
Yeah,
about sort of the paleo diet, if you will, that's a seasonal
right.
diet, right?
Yeah.
And so if we go back to our ancestry, and I do love that, by the way, if anyone has a little tiny interest in ancestry and basically anthropology, we humans go way back, and we go way back from different regions within our planet here, and our bodies are based around that. So there are people that sort of eat for their DNA kind of thing.
Hmm.
And this is why when you see people who are traditionally island people and they get introduced to diets that come from other parts of the world, their bodies just cannot adapt
Yeah.
well to that. And so, traditional diets are very important from an anthropology point of view. And when I look at like fruits, and not all fruits grow everywhere, and so if you think about where
Yep.
they come from and what fruits maybe are more appropriate for you, that's maybe one approach. Then the other thing is polyphenols are so essential, and I think we don't often get enough of them in. So my main suggestion would be, when you look at fruits, start with your dark red ones first. Just go that route, and then also keep in mind the amount of pesticides that are sprayed on fruit, and just the volume. So apples alone can be sprayed up to 27 times. There's an enormous amount of chemicals that are on fruit. And this is where, it's terrible when you want to eat the skin of something, but the skin is the outer barrier that basically collects a lot of this. So, because I love apples and I love what apples can do for you. I feel like that apple a day, like you were talking about, is really great. But organic is better, and really cleaning the skin is important. But berries themselves are sprayed a lot. I mean, if you've ever had a garden and you try and grow berries, like, good luck. It is not easy. The little bugs
My
love.
issue's been all the chipmunks and squirrels eat them before I get them.
Right. That's exactly it. And I've got these heirloom tomatoes growing in Australia right now. They're just beautiful. But every time I go out there, there's a giant hole. And I'm like, what ate this?
Yes.
So you've got to cover everything. We have a lot of possums in Australia. So I think I can have a pretty good guess at what ate my tomatoes. But you have to cover things. And so when you get fruits, you really want to wash them. And the other thing I would say, biodynamic, biodynamic fruits and vegetables are, really great. I mean, it's a controlled environment. It's not quite as beneficial as the wild, of course. There's a lot of things out in the wild. And usually they're fed the nutrients through the water that they know they need to really thrive. So in Bandung, where we have our head office, one of our members has a biodynamic farm. And so she's got a beautiful organic biodynamic farm with all these leafy greens. And it's, you can kind of trust that you're getting something truly organic.
Yep. That's great.
Yeah.
I don't think I have the time to make one of those or take care of one of those, but
funny you mentioned that. My neighbor who lived behind me in Australia many years ago now, she built a tower. Have you seen those towers that you can grow your vegetables and your herbs on? Okay, so she built a giant one. And then she really got into how she built it out of PVC. So you get a PVC pipe, okay? And then you get something that like melts it down. You can melt it down quite easy, like with a gun and something metal. You push like a heat gun and you push it down, and then you carve the hole out. And so she made these towers. They were incredible. You can actually buy them, okay? But she wanted to make her own. And the key to these is getting the water right underneath. You have to feed the water certain nutrients so that it can rise up through the roots. And then they grow year round. I mean, if you keep them in, a place where you can keep some warmth, you can grow them year round. And then you have herbs and lettuces and things. But if you think about it, you want kind of many of these towers growing, right? Like, it becomes a hanging garden, standing garden.
And you can essentially have it right in your house, right? And it has its own growing lights. I'm assuming
you can do it that way. Hers were out on her balcony. She had like 6 of them.
Oh, nice.
It was quite a project. And it's, once you get going on something like that, it's not cheap, but buying fresh vegetables is not cheap.
No. So I guess it's choose your solution, I guess.
Yeah. And also it's a hobby. Like, it's sort of like your sourdough. You've got to have some time to pay attention to it.
Yeah. And I mean, I just kind of set a reminder every day so I don't forget my baby. It has no name, but maybe I'll give it a name by tomorrow.
Yeah, let's see what you come up with. So
it's going to be Sheila. We'll call her Sheila. There we go.
Do you know that a woman, I guess a slang word in Australia for a woman is a Sheila?
Oh, really? Well, I guess good choice.
I hope it doesn't mean something bad, but like I always heard that, like, a woman is a Sheila in Australia. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah, there you go. So came up with a name. So any sort of final, like we're going to do a little final thing on the drawing. So we've got a big drawing coming up for all of you out there waiting to see who's going to win. Oh, and I will be dropping the winners of the salt and pepper shakers. And, I didn't give away for people to win the Jamaica, the hibiscus flower tea, Jamaica. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put everybody into the drawing for the bag of Jamaica, and which I have actually sitting at Kim's house in America because I brought it back from Mexico. And then we have our big Amazon drawing. I wonder what we could maybe do something fun based on this week's theme. What do you think? Should we do, are there sourdough starter kits on Amazon? Where did you get your starter kit?
I did last year, the last time we did Pure 30. I did purchase on Amazon a sourdough kit that had the basket and all the tools.
Okay, why don't we give one of
Um,
those away?
yeah,
All
why
right, let's do
not?
that.
Yeah, I like
I'll
it.
find a starter kit. You pick one
Yeah,
out on Amazon so I can add it to our, segment on Pure 30 and we'll give away a starter kit. So we've got the salt and
I'll
pepper shake.
try. Yeah, I'll try and send it, but I noticed when I click on the link, because I'm in Canada, I have to change countries. So I'll try to send you something, or I
Oh,
got to make sure I'm in the right country to give you the right link.
all this text sounds so easy. I just want to tell everybody it is absolutely mind bending because I
It
set up an
is.
Amazon store in America and there is one for Canada, but there is not one for Australia and New Zealand yet because I have to literally set it up in Australia and New Zealand. I cannot set it up it just doesn't mirror. So I'm like, oh my goodness. And it took me days to set up that first one. And initially, I really set those up for all of our franchisees to find all the things they need inside their club, because there's all kinds of little things we use too to run our businesses. And then I thought,
Mhm.
oh, but there's all these fun things inside Pure 30 coming up. So I'll put that in there because everybody asked me last year. So I did that. And then I thought, oh, okay, well, but I just haven't done the one for Australia and New Zealand. I'm so sorry, everybody, but it was absolutely a nightmare to do the one for the USA and Canada.
They are a lot of work to put together.
Oh, it's so much. And there's so many rules. There's a lot of rules that these big companies put out. Like, you've got to make these pages active. And if they're not active, we're shutting you down. And I'm like, okay, like just
Oh,
trying to make
wow.
everything easier. So anyway, so we've got the salt and pepper shakers, which I just love. So we'll get that drawing dropped. We've got,
Yeah, do you see I have a set back there?
you get the
See?
rechargeable ones or ones with batteries?
I did get the rechargeable ones. I did not want to deal with batteries.
Good idea, because it takes 6 AA or triple A's. It takes a lot of batteries to run those
Oh,
things.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I think the rechargeable is the way to go. So we'll give away a set of salt and pepper shakers, a bag of the Jamaica, and now a sourdough starter kit.
Awesome. That's going to be so fun for someone. It's a lot of fun to make sourdough because you get to make all those fun little designs on top. Maybe I can write curves in it tomorrow. I'll try.
Oh, try that. Yeah, I've got a
Start
girlfriend, a
doing a few
Chinese
designs.
girlfriend, actually. She's living in America and she's taken up the hobby of sourdough bread. And she's just
Oh,
making beautiful, beautiful bread. She's got a really big channel on one of the Chinese platforms where she talks about coffee. She is one of I think the top female coffee graders in China, where you grade the flavor of coffee. And that doesn't mean flavored, but it means the region in which it's grown and the notes that come through. There's more notes in coffee than there is in wine. So you have to have a palate that's really quite well trained to taste all those things and then grade the coffee's got like 3 stages. It's got growing. And then once it's grown, the way it's roasted. And then once it's roasted, the way it turns into an actual espresso or a black coffee. And those 3 stages, any one of them can impact and basically fail the coffee. So it's just a very interesting field and area. We got into coffee while we were in China, like really into the business side of coffee. And she's a very good friend of mine. And so I've been on her little show. Oh my goodness, thousands of women show up to learn about coffee and buy coffee beans from her on her show in China. And it's just really fun. And so I jump on there and start talking. And she's like, if you start talking about curves, she did so well with curves, completely transformed her body with curves and just loved curves when we had curves there. She's like, all these ladies are going to want curves in China. I said, oh, you never know. The world is funny. China is an ever evolving landscape of business. And I think its big year is coming in 2030. And, just all the things coming out of China are pretty amazing, kind of unbelievable at times. If you've never been, it's definitely not the experience you think you would have. I'm sure of it. It is just off the charts, surprising, amazing, just nothing you
I
could
can
imagine.
imagine.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, I've I do have like the bug of wanting to travel and see all these wonderful places. It's just not in my cards yet, but I do love experiencing culture when I get a chance. So I can imagine like what
It's
China
well,
has.
you could go
All
to
these
Taiwan right away, and you could go to any Curves and work out. We've got a lot of great clubs there, and
right
a
on.
lot of great clubs in Japan. 2,000 clubs to go to there, and then we got over 500 clubs in Korea. So some of our Asian countries
Well, actually, in
well.
2027
Yep.
of November, my son and I, my youngest son, he's in karate. We plan to go to Japan because he will get his black belt there.
Wow.
And he went on his own when he was 16 and he would FaceTime me from there every day. And he was hiking and doing all these fun things. I'm like, I can't believe you're doing this at 16. And like, I've never been to something like that at that age. And he was just doing so well. Anyway, I really look forward to going there with him and experiencing the culture the way he did. And he's got so much that he wants to show me that he experienced there and getting his black belt, right? So, anyway, one more year and
Well,
a half or so to go.
I'll tell you one thing, maybe we can wrap up on this. I can tell you one thing to definitely try that will make this taste like a margarita in comparison, and that is natto.
Ah,
If you've never had natto, woo, that is a tough fermented soybean to swallow. But there is
is that
so,
Japanese?
oh, yes, it's a big
Okay.
part of their health and the way they live. That is probably the ultimate fermented food is natto, and it's a fermented soybean. It's very gooey and slimy, and it is tough. So my girlfriend who's making the sourdough, who's the coffee lady, while I was at her house
Yeah.
last year, she was ordering natto online. I think she actually maybe ordered it off of Amazon, and it's these little containers. And she's like, "Do you like natto?" I'm like, "No, I really don't." She's like, "Oh, it's great. It's so good for you." I said, "I know it's good for me, but oh, I have a hard time swallowing it. I really have a hard time swallowing it." She's like, "Come on, we'll do it." I'm like, "Oh, okay." She got out this little container. She put the Japanese mustard on top, and she likes things spicy, so she added spicy sauce. I didn't need anything spicy. I just had to take a deep breath and swallow this because I know it's good for you. And she mixes it up, and it kind of turns into almost like a foam because of the fermentation. And then
Oh, wow.
you just swallow it down. It is tremendous benefit to the gut, like amazing, like as good as seaweed is. Like the
Is
Japanese
this something
really,
I can get online? I would be
yes,
happy to test this out and see what
yes,
happens.
you can get it
Okay.
online. And I can't
Okay.
wait for you to tell me. You need to video that when
I
we
will.
I go, "Here you go, Kim. I'm going to eat this right now." Because it is, ooh, if you've ever had it, anyone watching, you know what I mean. This is not easy to eat. But they eat it all the time. They know it's good for their health. They eat a lot of seaweed. The other thing I will say is in Taiwan, when I was experiencing all the foods there, they have something called stinky tofu, and they love stinky tofu. And I grew up on a farm, and there's a distinct smell to growing up on a farm, and it's stinky tofu smell. It literally is the same smell as a barn, and I'm like, I can't eat that. They're like, "It's delicious." I'm like, "It smells like a barn. Like it really smells like a barn." They're like, "No, but it tastes
Wow.
very different." No, it didn't. It literally tasted like a barn. Like the flavor was the same as my nose.
That is so interesting. How those smells can be attractive to that culture and not to our own palate. Like it's such a huge change. How can you adjust to that?
You just try. And it took me a long time, it took me a long time to really like kimchi. And it took me a long time of just sort of starting with those milder kimchis and working my way up to the red one. I never really liked the red ones, but now I really like it a lot. So I think
Takes time.
if you mentally go in with this is what it's doing for me, and this is why it's so good for me. And you can start with that space and try it from that perspective. And the other thing is mix it with something. You don't always have to eat this stuff pure. Mix it with something else that, you can kind of kill off some of the pungent flavor that you get from some of these things. But, the Asian culture is very interesting like that. And, they have a lot of fermented things that they eat on a regular basis, which I think if anything, the Western diet needs desperately is constant and consistent fermented foods.
I would agree with that. Yeah. It's got to come back into people's diets for sure.
I met a young woman on the plane, lovely lady, actually. We sat next to each other. You don't always sit next to people you really want to talk to, but we ended up chatting, and she's in her mid 40s. She has Barrett's disease and GERD. I maybe talked about this last week. I'm not even sure. It's a bit of a blur, but probably she has SIBO as well, or something else going on. But this is where your fermented foods are just so critical to keeping your stomach functioning well. And, when you have indigestion and heartburn, you don't have enough acid going on inside of your stomach. It's not too much acid. It's not enough acid is what it is. So, incorporating fermented foods and a variety, because they all have different bacterias, they all carry a different set of bacterias that are beneficial. So you want variety there too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Do we still have time where I saw that you had, cooled potatoes or cooled rice as an option.
Yes.
And
Those
that
are
also
insoluble fibers or
yeah.
what do you call them? There's another word. It's with an R.
Okay.
I'm having a moment. It's my morning and your night, and I'm having a moment. But it's basically insoluble fibers. So it feeds your colon, and it makes it down to the colon is the point. It doesn't digest in the small intestine. So there's another word for that. But cold potato, cold rice, and if you think about Asian dishes, there's a lot of cold potato and cold rice actually.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Well, look at your sushi, right? You've got cold rice,
of course,
right?
Yeah.
And then the Chinese do a salad dish that's literally raw potato, and it's cold and it's shredded and it's got some oils on it and some seasoning on it. It's actually quite good. And you think, what am I eating here? Because we don't eat raw potato. So I was like, what is this? Is this some kind of vegetable? They're like, it's potato. I'm like, oh, I've never had potato like that. And there was another vegetable I ate in Taiwan that I absolutely love. It's some kind of, I got to find out the name. I'll talk to Lydia, who I worked with there. But it's a particular type of vegetable. You would absolutely swear you were eating a piece of sushi. You would swear it was sushi, but it's a root vegetable. A bit like konjac is so strange, right? It's another root vegetable. It's a Japanese root vegetable. So there's some interesting things out there, like even eating the Jerusalem artichoke, it was like, wow, it's like a water chestnut.
Yeah. How did you feel after? Great?
Yeah, I felt fine. I would say, let's just say, I think your advice on going slow on eating fermented foods is a good idea, because I ate several that day and
oh no. Oh no.
Dare I say more? And on that note, so you and I are going to do a final meeting with all of our drawings. The big drawing, basically. I'll probably post the other drawings, but we'll do the big drawing, and we'll be wrapping this up soon. And I think what I'm going to do, just so everybody knows, the portal will stay open about another week to 10 days, okay, before we close it down. So, ladies, take a little time to, jump into things you haven't jumped into yet. This is just for this month, and we're moving into a very fun promotion in the month of July, which is our road trip. Hope you liked our icons for Canada. I had to work really hard at thinking about icons for Canada beyond the maple leaf, and tried to come up with some interesting things. But it's going to be a very fun promotion, and man, the voucher to win for fuel, I think, is going to be well appreciated. I cannot believe the price of gas still. And I know it's slowing people down from traveling. It's actually making air travel very expensive too. So it impacts all of us when these prices go crazy like this.
Well, I love the promotions that Curves that you put together. They're so inspiring because whenever I see what is Kim thinking for a giveaway, and then I'm like, how can I do that here? And I've tried and I figure something out. So yeah, I really like the road trip idea, what you put together.
Oh, good. I'm glad. We always have to kind of change it up. It's never going to be exactly the same every year, but
Yeah.
thematically we'll be aligned. And we've got some new things coming up for the fall, spring for Australia, fall for us. And just as an added thing, we have some exciting news around everything that's happening with the Olivia Newton-John Foundation and also the hospital. And so there's some fun things coming for sure. And we'd like to keep it interesting. We've got a lot of diehard curves ladies out there that have been with us a long time. They don't want to do the exact same thing every year.
It's good to change it up. Got to have some variety in our fun every month too, right? Just like
Well,
our
that's what
food.
keeps it interesting. That's what keeps it
Yes.
interesting, right? Because, there's a lot of things in life that can get boring, and that's even fitness. So, we got to keep it interesting. Did you see our new shirt? See you on the circuit t-shirt?
Yes, I did.
I
I
think
like
that's gonna
it.
be popular. I think that's gonna be fun. And we've got another fun one coming up in 2 months after boot camp. And yeah, we've got some other fun things coming down the pipe. So yeah, it
I
keeps
love
my
it.
creative juices flowing too. So, but thank you for staying up late, Shannon. And I guess you and I have some work to do. You've got a bread to make, and fingers crossed that goes well. Sheila comes out great. I'm going to make this drink today, and I've got to find all these ingredients to hit 30 in a salad, and maybe make the broccoli salad.
Sounds good. I can't wait.
Get a little bit more into that broccoli salad than the traditional one.
It would be
Um,
awesome if you dropped your pizza dough recipe too.
Oh, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that with
Yeah.
some pictures too. This year, we gave away for the pizza oven, we gave away a rotating tray in there, which I'll tell you, if you don't have one with the rotating tray, it really is a little bit of an art form to keep moving the pizza around because it does cook quickly. So the rotating tray, I think, is awesome. We had some winners out there that won that awesome pizza oven. But that's also, I put that pizza oven in the Amazon thing too. People can order that if they want from Blackstone. Blackstone's the one that's got the rotating tray in there.
Okay, good to know. I don't have a pizza oven yet, so I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, check it out. The portable one's quite affordable for, if you like doing that and you like having pizza parties, which, I've always really enjoyed that. And it's just fun, and you can get everybody together, and everybody can make a different pizza. And, yeah, and if you've got a good spelt pizza dough, that's even better for those who want significantly less gluten, because that's always the drawback with pizza is gluten. And I know they've got cauliflower
Mhm.
crusts, which are also really good. And I've seen, and I haven't tried yet, the cottage cheese, bases that they turn into wraps and things. So I
Yeah,
don't know, maybe you and I
I've
could,
been wanting to try that too.
yeah, get creative there and try something new. But so, ladies, thank you for sticking with us. I hope you've been enjoying everything, and Shannon and I will keep carrying on this week and squeezing out a few more great ideas from our kitchens, and then we'll see you with the grand finale.
Sounds good. Everyone should be excited. All the prizes coming.
I will see you later, Shannon. Have a good night. I will
Thanks.
catch
You
up
too.
with you in 48 hours, probably, as we kind of prepare for the next thing. And I'll see
Okay.
everybody later. Bye.
Bye.